Tzu Chi volunteers traveled to Portugal to hold distribution for forest fire victims. We learn about how some breast cancer patients develop lymph edema after lymph node dissection. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. Tondela in Portugal suffered a serious fire last summer, leading Tzu Chi volunteers to hold aid distributions over the course of 2 days. 68 volunteers were mobilized from 7 countries, benefiting nearly 500 households.
Mr. Cruz. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Tondela, Portugal is receiving its first Tzu Chi aid distribution after the fire. While there's catastrophic disasters in the past, this distribution is also the first in Europe to coincide with a free medical clinic.
The best medicine in the world isn't medicine at all, but actually care and compassion.
Some affected households are also serving as volunteers.
It has been a whole different experience with Tzu Chi Foundation because your help was not expected, and people here are very grateful.
Helping affected households put on scarves and warm their hearts, more than 70 households in Tondela received gift certificates. While everything proceeded smoothly on the surface, it was more difficult than it seems.
When we were, for the first time, contacted by your foundation, we were suspicious.
You're suspicious.
Because
I'm not surprised.
We were suspicious because we ask ourselves why people from the other side of the world are concerned with our problems in Tondela.
However, the sincerity of the distribution was touching to local officials. Even the mayor joined as a volunteer. Although the number of households helped in Portugal is not very large, the major hurdle was mobilizing volunteers in various European countries and the United States, because there are no Tzu Chi volunteers in Portugal. Therefore, volunteers from other countries came, even using their own luggage to carry aid materials into the country.
Going to Tondela to see all of these trees that have been burned but are now growing. New shoots is in my mind, the seeds or the roots of hope which will slowly grow.
Good seeds have been distributed to this affected area, and soon the survivors of this disaster will grow stronger and never be lonely again.
People in the Karak area in the southern end of the Dead Sea live in poverty. Tzu Chi Jordan chapter has been holding distributions here for more than a decade. This time, this chapter collaborated with local Taekwondo members and the representative of Commercial Office of Taiwan in Jordan to distribute the rice from Taiwan.
The temperature of Amman has dropped to 0 degrees Celsius. Tzu Chi volunteers brave heavy rain and hail, delivering the rice from Taiwan to the Karak area in the southern end of the Dead Sea.
It's drizzling here in Jordan. The situation here is better than in Amman because it's snowing there. Thanks for the blessings from Bodhisattvas. Every time we have a distribution, there's an incredible cause.
People here live in poverty, so they need subsidies and urgent assistance from other places.
Especially since recently, Jordan has taken in about 1.4 million Syrian refugees. These refugees have created competitiveness to our country's economy, many people's job opportunities, as well as some of the resources in life. This has led to the inconvenience of many local impoverished residents. I think it is very meaningful since we are able to personally deliver the rice to each underprivileged family in a cold season at this time.
This time, a total of 1,200 households have received the 20 kilograms of rice. 5 volunteers from the Tzu Chi Jordan chapter, together with 10 local Taekwondo members and the representative of Commercial Office of Taiwan in Jordan, were able to deliver the rice to every poor family who desperately need it.
Papua province is located in Indonesia's easternmost area, and most of the residents live in poverty. In Esmo County, local residents build their homes on wetlands and they go fishing to make a living. However, the county recently suffered an outbreak of measles. Therefore, Indonesian city volunteers collaborated with the army to go to 10 areas to distribute aid supplies.
Jakarta Tzu Chi volunteers took 3 different planes, and after more than 6 hours, they finally met up with Biak volunteers. It was when they started a journey to help the needy. They later took the Indonesian Army helicopter departing from Timika to Asmat. In addition, it wasn't until midnight when there were 50 tons of shipping supplies delivered successfully to the harbor of Agat. Due to choppy seas, the villagers of the army worked together to divide the large quantities of supplies into 10 boats as they prepared to conduct distributions in 10 rural areas.
Even though we have to work in the dark today, we will pack all the supplies and divide them into 10 boats. This way we'll be able to go to 10 different rural areas to distribute supplies. Tomorrow we'll conduct the distribution for local residents.
The Indonesia Presidential Chief of Staff and the Coordinating Minister for Human Development and Cultural Affairs attached importance to this event, so they came to the ports to show their concern.
Tzu Chi and Indonesian Army have the same idea. Wherever or whenever there is a disaster, we'll go immediately to assess damage and provide aid. We have been collaborating with Tzu Chi for many years. We hope this good friendship can last forever.
Yunnan province is located in southwestern part of China and was considered a less developed area. However, in recent years, China focused on developing small towns with distinct attractions. On top of that, Kunming is situated at an elevation of around 2,000 meters, making it a great place to plant tea, flowers, and mushrooms. With agriculture being the main export merchandise, Kunming is gradually becoming the next important city.
High-rises and historical buildings are intertwined together. Kunming's people's daily life is similar to Taiwan, but there is something special as we can see all these colorful sunblock clothing on motorcycle riders due to the great temperature differences during day and night. People here bring their quilts when they go out.
多穿衣服了，你到室内的时候就会很热嘛，所以盖上这个的话就很方便。
Also, the sound of this engine is especially quiet.
电动车方便，交通不堵。
因为换去哪里都很方便，要不然坐公交车太堵了，在每个路口都要等那么久。
Since 10 years ago, Kunming started to promote electric motorcycles and implemented regulations on diesel vehicles to enter the city. Since there is no heavy industry in Kunming, it's voted to be the most long, refreshing city in China. But visiting here personally, then you will find that although there is no polluted smog, the air is filled with smells of tobacco. Yunnan is the #1 area for smokers in China. The local government relies on it heavily for finance, and there are no active regulations to ban smoking, hence many problems.
The worst problem is people litter their cigarette butts everywhere because the public don't have environmental protection concepts.
China hosts an election of the most cultural city every 3 years, and Kunming joined the competition last year. He Guobing was in charge of park environment, so he led a team to post slogans and add plants to make the city greener. However, all his efforts for half a month can't defeat people's bad habits.
For example, there are people running a red light every few minutes, or people using bad language all the time. Also, the hygiene problem is serious, as you can see trash everywhere. The quality of people needs to be improved, and I think it's kind of sad for people living in the so-called Spring City.
Nevertheless, Kunming is developing rapidly in recent years. Its GDP has reached 430 billion renminbi, and the annual average growth is 10.3%. The booming opportunities attracted many Taiwan businesses to come. It's estimated about 449 registered Taiwan-founded corporations are here, which stands for 56% of the entire Yunnan province.
For instance, Japanese like pu'er tea very much, but Kunming didn't develop a large-scale market in Japan, so we Taiwanese businessmen here tend to do some more trading.
The agricultural products from Yunnan are on the top 10 best-selling list of China's e-commerce market. Other than the most popular pu'er tea, flowers are also an important product. Taiwanese businessman Jason Chen has built an orchard land that's about 21,000 square feet in Songming County. More than half of the orders are sold to Southeast Asia and Japan.
Here we export 70% and 30% is for domestic sales. We've been doing this for 20 years and now we have more than 10 new brands.
These flowers in the greenhouse need rigorous quality control and temperature adjustment in every different stage of its growth. However, it burns 1,800 tons of coal every year, and Jason Chen is thinking about how to transform the system to be more environmental friendly.
We keep the greenhouse warm by heating up the boiler, but the government is banning it now, so in the future we may try to use solar power and natural gas.
To cooperate with the Belt and Road initiatives, Kunming is integrating agriculture with biotechnology and expanding to multidimensional operations. Flora will be the next pushing hand for Kunming to step into the international market.
Some breast cancer patients may experience cancer cells spreading to the lymph node under the arm and need to undergo auxiliary lymph node dissection. However, about 20% of patients suffer from lymph edema after removing the lymph node.
I can't raise my hand, it's painful. I can only rest it here.
Mrs. Huang has difficulty raising her left arm horizontally and extremely painful for her to raise it a bit higher. This has severely affected her daily life.
I often can't find a sleeve or it takes a long time for me to get dressed.
Not only inconvenient getting dressed, it's also very hard for her to hold her bowl when having a meal.
I hold the bowl strangely because I can't hold it stably.
78 years old Mrs. Huang had breast cancer in the past. 2 years ago, when she had acupuncture on her neck and shoulder, her left shoulder joint was infected by the virus, and after the surgery, she had difficulty moving her left arm since then.
20 years ago, I had a surgery here at the left side for breast cancer, and I removed my breast and lymph. Later, this arm has edema and is probably bad circulation that caused my joints to have a virus infection.
Lymph edema is a very common post-breast cancer surgery symptom, and about 20% of patients will experience it.
When breast cancer cells transfer to the lymph node under the arm, we will normally do auxiliary lymph node dissection, but this might cause the lymph on the same side to have lymph edema.
Lymph edema not only affects patients' daily life, it can easily cause infection by tiny wounds like Mrs. Huang's case due to malfunction of lymph circulation.
The patient should try to avoid having needle injections or drawing blood if possible, or we will be extra cautious in disinfection.
Breast cancer patients who are suffering post-surgical lymph edema can seek help from rehabilitation doctors.
The most common way now is to give a lymphatic drainage massage or supplement with some equipment to improve circulation.
Both massaging the arm with pressure or with hands can help to improve lymph circulation.
We can move on further to closer to do lymphatic drainage.
Other than massage, rolling your shoulders and spreading out your arms or some finger movement exercises can all ease the lymph edema. Some warning for patients suffering lymph edema are to avoid wounds around the surgery area or upper limbs, as well as not to wear bracelet or ring to avoid blocking lymph circulation to decrease the risk of infections.
More than 10 Mexico volunteers have arrived in Taiwan, and they paid a visit to DaAi Recycling Technology Pavilion in Ganshan, Kaohsiung. During their visit, they witnessed how recycled PET bottles are turned into blankets. Mexico volunteers seem to express their appreciation of Taiwan. As Mexico volunteers visit the DaAi Recycling Technology Pavilion in Gangshan, they're amazed to see how PET bottles can be turned into yarn. They've witnessed how PET bottles are recycled and turned into eco-friendly blankets.
With the love and dedication from all these volunteers that, come every day to work, and they're very dedicated because I've seen them. It's very touching for me.
In the aftermath of Mexico earthquake, they've also received these blankets.
I keep it on my bed every day because I love the feeling and I love the warmth and I love what it means.
Having been through natural disaster, these volunteers can relate to the residents of Sanling DaAi village. As the volunteers visit the houses in DaAi village, Spanish translation is provided.
These ideas to other places of the world, we can really make a difference in the environmental situation of this planet very fast.
During this trip to Kaohsiung, these Mexico volunteers have held hope and love. In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers have held special gatherings to welcome the newly certified Tzu Chens and Tzu Chi commissioners in Xinzhuang and Wanhua districts. Let's join them there.
Young volunteers enter the venue holding lanterns. This is the welcome event for Tzu Chi volunteers in Xintai district, and the ambience is very cheerful. Other than exciting performances, there are also games connecting people. After a round of charades, the last person got the answer. The most important program today is to welcome the newly certified Tzu Chen commissioners and pass down the power of goodness.
Actually, we need to put more of our mights in doing good deeds and not just consider ourselves. You must treat others with compassion.
I wanted to take time to do more things I want to do while I'm not too old and still energetic.
At the welcome event in Wanhua, young volunteers performed drumming neatly, and their parents accompanied them on the stage.
I'm quite nervous to be on the stage for the first time, but my heart gradually calms down when I start singing.
I realized that it's easy for a person to do things, but to have everyone doing one thing together and be organized is very hard.
We've only practiced for a short week, and we have more than 30 kids, so I feel the power from everyone is really great.
With the joint effort of everyone present, they've garnered everyone's kind thoughts, shedding light in the dark corners in the world.
Tainan's EPA found there was too much furniture to recycle. In 2003, he set up a recycling auction center. One carpenter works with this material, though he earns a modest civil servant salary. However, he says he's happy to give discarded items new life.
If you understand these old things, you can make them new again. I was interested in this as my heart was in carpentry. I spent some effort in this area, which requires a sort of feeling.
1750多少？好，1800，1800，好，1850，1850，多少？
Now it's the 15th year, and our annual revenue is about 25,000 to 30,000 US dollars, as we earn about 6,000 to 9,000 US dollars a month.
Our carpenter really loves this type of furniture, and he used his vacation days to study this craft and undertake this apprenticeship, as he didn't use any public sector funds.
My friends ask me why I don't do work for money, as I could earn about 3,000 US dollars, but instead I only get about 1,000 US dollars for working with used furniture. Making new furniture, you already have a design, but here I only have the materials and I am required to develop my own blueprint.
We found that more people are discarding good furniture, which is a tragedy. They do this just to be fashionable, and it's a waste, as many of these things are very good wood.
I've been working for the EPA for 10 years. I've slowly become more aware of environmental issues and energy saving and carbon reduction in this area. After all, secondhand furniture involves so many materials that can be reused, as we do not need to discard it. Disadvantaged families don't have money to buy desks, as they go through the EPA to get these second-hand desks that have been upgraded. We can even deliver it to them. Second-hand furniture can let children know more about the environment in Taiwan and let less trees be cut, as well as reducing the amount of garbage.
After learning some new knowledge, we can do environmental protection and also reduce the amount of waste we produce.
The first time I saw it, I was amazed that this furniture was all second-hand because it had been given new life through these traditional processes. I really thought the carpenter was good and the furniture was amazing.
When I work on furniture, my one principle is that everything must be practical, and if we can find a new use, we won't waste this material.
After the earthquake and New Year vacation, recycling volunteers in Hualien, Taiwan returned to the recycling station. These volunteers' average age is over 60, yet they went to the recycling station to help clean up to welcome the beginning of the Lunar New Year.
Sweeping with the broom, and you can see large amount of dust fell off. However, these senior volunteers are not afraid of the dirt, and they nimbly clean the recycling station in Hualien to welcome the new year.
I feel very good.
When everyone still focused on the Hualien's earthquake, these recycling volunteers didn't forget to guard their land, and the first step is to sweep out the dirt.
I'm very joyful because it's a blessing to be here, not to mention it's both healthy and I can also clean out some dirt in my heart.
The cleaning every year ensures a clean homeland. These volunteers make wishes that they can still be part of the efforts to protect our land and purify the planet Earth.
In the United States, Tzu Chi Philadelphia Liaison Office held a blessing ceremony to celebrate the Lunar New Year. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.